President Rodrigo Duterte, his daughter is also seen to be a possible presidential candidate next year. But we haven't heard from her yet. We don't know what she's deciding yet. So in the meantime, his national political party is already mobilizing to decide on their candidates this month because in October, they will have to be filing their certificates of candidacies with our Commission on Elections. So a few weeks ago, actually yesterday, there was already a formalization that he would be nominated to run for vice president next year, alongside his longtime trusted aide, Senator Bongo, who is running for president, or who they want to run for president next year. So that's what's happening now. We're all just waiting for this to be final when they file their certificates of candidacies. And I believe next month there will be also a formal convention of the national political party of the president to formalize this nomination.
Well, the election won't be until next year. The president hasn't even finished his current term yet. But based on his popularity ratings, do you think he and the presidential candidate might get voted in?
He topped the most recent survey on possible vice presidential candidates. So he garnered 18% of the respondents' approval. But as for his possible running mate, Senator Bongo, he is very far down the line in terms of popularity. I believe he only garnered like a single-digit approval rating from respondents. So his allies say that the president's popularity will be enough to carry the tandem forward, but we will have to see if that is true.
So people in Philippines approve of Rodrigo Duterte's handling of the pandemic so far?
Well, that's the thing. His surveys recently have not really been about the pandemic. But we've seen the most recent survey was, I believe, last year, October, and he did get a high percentage of approval. But since then, we have not seen, sadly, recent surveys just to show the actual current sentiments of people. So it's hard to say at this point if that has changed. But yes, the last survey did show high approval ratings for his pandemic response. Even overall, he is still highly popular, with at least 8 out of 10 Filipinos saying that they approve of his governance style. And a lot of political observers, a lot of people in the academe are still bamboozled by this. I mean, we've never seen a president this popular. In fact, he is on track to becoming the most popular Philippine president post-Ferdinand Marcos, post-EDSA revolution.
Wow, and that's despite all the controversies that surround him, including this week. We've seen a rush to get vaccinated by many this week. A lot of confusion around the government's policy on those who aren't vaccinated. Has there been any clarification from authorities?
Well, today, in the past few days, they've been saying that they've been trying to make it clear to Filipinos that all this news about Filipinos not being able to get aid if they are unvaccinated, or they will be arrested if they are unvaccinated. Malacanang, or the government, is stressing that is not true. That is fake news. Unfortunately, the president himself, a month ago, threatened to arrest people who are unvaccinated, who refuse to be vaccinated, and also recently threatened to ordered police to and barangay captains or village chiefs to ensure that unvaccinated people stay at home. So right after the president said this, the government quickly clarified that this was not enforceable yet, because the president supposedly understood that a law needs to be passed first. But that's not what we understood from the president's remarks. In fact, he even said, "I will not wait for a law anymore. I need to do this immediately because of the necessity of the situation." So it's not surprising that many people are confused about where the government stands. And it's really not surprising that some people panicked today, because yesterday was the last day of the lockdown, and people were scared that if we don't get vaccinated, we won't be able to get the aid that is promised by the government for this lockdown. So this is why some mayors in the capital think that could be the reason why there was such chaos yesterday.
Well, you're now into a 2-week lockdown. How strict are the measures and where do they apply?
The lockdown is called enhanced community quarantine. It's the strictest quarantine measure imposed in the country, and this means that everyone has to stay at home except for essential workers, except for frontliners. If you have to go outside, you would have to either be getting vaccinated, buying groceries, or seeking medical care. There's also some requirements of quarantine passes in certain cities where you can't leave the house unless you have this card with you.
Do you think 2 weeks is long enough to get the current outbreak under control? I understand there are thousands of cases every day.
In fact, today there were 10,000 new cases, and that's a high that we haven't seen since April when we also had a lockdown. So experts were actually recommending more than 2 weeks. They were recommending 3 weeks of lockdown, but government officials were concerned that if we had imposed the full 3 weeks and immediately, then businesses would not have been able to adjust, and it would have caused more panic if they had done a full 3 month, a 3 week lockdown. So now we are just watching and seeing if this will be enough. Anyway, the government can extend the current lockdown that's been done before.
Pia Ranada, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you also.